What's going on, YouTube? Today we are here to talk about Alien Earth. I finally got the chance to view the first three episodes of this series, and I have to say, it is the most fun that I have had with the Alien franchise in years. Now, games have been pretty much knocking it out of the park. Obviously, Alien Isolation, that is probably the pinnacle of Alien games, in my opinion. It's in my top five favorite video games of all time. And over the past couple of years, we've had a couple of good ones as well. Fireteam Elite, Dark Descent, all with their unique twists and everything. So the gaming side of things has been doing relatively good. However, the movies and the TV shows, not so much. We've had the prequels, the Covenant, and the Prometheus, and Alien Romulus, which I'm not a huge fan of. And honestly, within the movies, it's been lacking, to say the least. Um, there's always a problem with prequels. This show takes place a couple of years before Alien, with Ripley and the Nostromo and all of that. And there's always a problem with prequels. They want to be innovative, but they have to stick to the lore that is built within everything that comes after them. And I have to say, this one breaks it just a little bit. As per usual, they are trying to show you some advanced technology and stuff like that, and it's not something that we've ever seen. Really, I want to say in any of the other Alien franchises. I mean, there's weapons and robots and synthetics and cyborgs and all kinds of things that, oh boy, it's just we didn't see it in any of the other movies that take place long after the show is supposed to take place. So, it kind of breaks the lore a little bit there, but you can sort of look over it. Now, in this show, there is a new type of synthetic. It is what they are doing is taking the minds of a human and placing it inside of a synthetic body. So you have a few of the main characters here who are children, really, and they have placed the children's mind inside of a synthetic body. And a great concept. I like it. However, some of the dialogue is really weird. It's very hard to pinpoint how old these kids are because, I mean, they're talking about things that kids, I would say, wouldn't really talk about. Like the questions they pose are kind of weird, and they do a slight explanation that their minds aren't just their minds; they're attached to an AI that is enhancing them a little bit. So it's just very awkward. They're clearly in adult bodies, and their minds are supposed to be of children's, and they're discussing things that aren't necessarily, I want to say, children conversations. But then on top of that, there are scenes where they're definitely acting like children, especially in the third episode. And it's at that point that um, things for them really start to click, and it makes a little bit more sense. But we've already actually seen a lot more of the alien than I have expected to in this series. I was expecting to see this alien in the first, episode to kind of, tease you and hook you. And then much like the Godzilla Monarch series, you saw Godzilla a little bit and then he kind of disappeared and he doesn't come back until the end. I thought the same thing was going to happen here. But that's not the case. The alien has been pretty prominent in most of the episodes so far, and that's great. It's good to see that they're using a mixture of both a guy in a suit and special effects, and both of them look pretty good. The special effects are a little lacking, but it's a TV show, so sort of forgivable. But by the same token, Disney, so not sort of forgivable at the same time. But overall, it looks pretty good. I want to say honestly, throughout the 3 episodes, maybe maybe 5 to 10 minutes of screen time. So not that much in terms of what you're actually seeing, but the presence is there, and it's definitely stalking and walking around, and you do get to see it periodically through each of these episodes. So that's pretty cool. Um, there's a few oddities with this alien, though, and the cyborgs that I was talking about a little bit earlier here. At the very start, the first episode, this alien is going on a rampage and wrecking everybody in its path, and it is actually going after one of these cyborgs on the ship, and it's going after him pretty fierce. And then in, I believe, episode 2, it has the chance to kill this person, this cyborg, and kind of sort of lets him go. So I'm not really sure why. I guess you could say that it heard, humans down the hall, so it decided to go after something that was, actual food more so than this cyborg. But then that doesn't kind of sort of really make sense with why the face huggers are attracted to this cyborg, since he's primarily human, with cybernetic enhancements to him. So there's some oddities there, and overall, there's some oddities with the characters, and that they kind of sort of have this plot armor. The main character's brother is a medic, and he is very clearly on the know of um, uh, codes and protocols, because when they first enter this ship that has crash landed on Earth, there's a code that flashes up on one of the screens, 1592 or whatever it was, and he tells one of the soldiers that are there, "Look, this is bad. Like, there's an alien on board this ship." So he clearly has an understanding that things are not great. But then there are moments in this show where he just makes irrational decisions. And I don't want to say that they're irrational because he's a stupid character. I want to say they're irrational because the showrunners need to move the plot forward. And he sort of has this plot armor where he's pinned down by this alien, I think on 2 separate occasions, and where this alien has been absolutely diabolical and just menacing everything in its path. I mean, just making short work of everything. When it comes to the main characters, they are just kind of tossed aside. And I absolutely hate when movies and shows do this. It's the main problem that I had with the Deadpool and Wolverine. You've created a villain that is so menacing that your heroes really can't do anything to overcome it. And like I said, it just ends up being, well, you're the main character, so I'll throw you around the walls a couple of times until somebody comes and saves you, rather than having a good one-on-one fight between your main character and your villain. I will say that the there is a story thread within this show where the sister and the brother are not supposed to know that one another exist, and they reveal this really really fast. They reveal it, I believe, about midway through the second episode. And I think that this is a narrative string that they could have pulled on for a while, to kind of sort of build that drama and that tension in the story. But it's just not there. They introduce the two, and essentially, as soon as they introduce the two, they are essentially like, "Hey, I'm actually your brother, and I'm actually your sister." So that was kind of weird. I'm not sure why they did that. I will say though that this has been rather refreshing as an Alien franchise story, because they have moved away, at least so far, from the Ripley archetype. I have been preaching for years that every single movie, whether it has Ripley or not in it, has somebody who thinks that they are Ripley. Covenant had a Ripley type character. Prometheus had a Ripley type character in Elizabeth Shaw or whatever the hell her name was. And, the AVP movies had Ripley, and obviously the original quadrilogy had Ripley. And, if you have the same character just embodied in different people over and over again, it makes that original character less unique every time you do it. So here they've done something where they've actually created a new character. And like I said, at the moment, she's not acting like a Ripley character, and she is unique and she is badass in her own way. And I pray to God that they do not change her into a Ripley character and send her down that path, because right now it's rather refreshing to watch something new. To go off of something new, the environment is relatively new. Yes, you have the ship that's crash landed, and it gives you, vintage Alien and Aliens vibes with, the long piping corridors and all of that, the flashing lights and all that. And that's great. That's a great callback. But on top of that, we have something that is new. That we have an apartment building, and that adds a whole new aspect to this series. And honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of unsettling, because you know that if this alien gets out of this ship slash apartment complex and gets down onto Earth and outside, it's going to be a problem. And then on top of that, we also have this, I don't know what you want to call it, Jurassic Park Island type thing going on. So that could potentially play a role into this. And it might get a little bit silly if they isolate everything onto this island, which is looking like it might go that route. It will lose a lot of drama if it does go in that route. The gravitas of this alien getting out and onto the mainland essentially is, or was, something that was pretty heavy and kind of weighing on the back of my mind. Um, there are a few other lore breaking things in this show. Like I said, it's supposed to take place a couple of years before Alien. And, in Alien, we weren't really supposed to know what this creature was. But in this show, I mean, they're carting this thing around the open streets, and there are hundreds of people seeing this thing. And maybe you can say that the chaos of the whole situation was cover enough to hide the fact that this acid dripping monster was rolling down the street. But it's a little odd, a little careless, I want to say, on the writing aspect of things. Maybe they could have boxed this thing up and hid it in some way that people didn't see it. At least that would have kept the thing enshrouded in mystery. But anyway, the ending of episode 3 leads me to think that this show has potential to go in a very dark and a very sci-fi, uh, almost Alien Resurrection route. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it has potential to be a very strong series. So far, we're off to a pretty good start. Like I said, some of the characters have plot armor, and some of the dialogue and interactions of these characters are just don't make any sense. They're kind of there to just push the story further. But in terms of the Alien franchise, this is the most fun I've had in a long time. So keep your eye open for episodes 4 through, I'm not sure how long this is supposed to go, 8, 10, however many episodes. Keep your eyes on FX for this. It's a good one to watch, and hopefully it stays the course. Let me know what you guys are thinking about Alien Earth in the comments down below. Have you guys been enjoying the Alien franchise as a whole? Do you guys enjoy Covenant and Prometheus, or are you guys kind of tired of all of these things? Are you kind of sort of wishing that they would just leave this franchise alone? Let me know what you guys are thinking, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.